So today Waves released the InTrigger plugin, and if you want to try this one, there's a link in the description and also a link up here. And the plugin comes in two versions. One is more suited for studio work with a learn button, and you can also manually go in and remove hits that should not have been triggered, and the plugin will remember all of those settings. I will focus on the live version of the plugin, and it's basically the same plugin but with less features, but we have no latency, which we like in the live world. So I've been using this summer, and let's have a look at how I've been using it. So let's start with the kick drum. So the live version have the normal settings you would expect in a trigger plugin. You of course have the threshold for when to trig. You have the re-trigger time to prevent machine gun triggers. Detection filter. This, for some reason, the high pass only goes to 500, and the low pass only goes down to 1000. I would prefer it go all the way from 20 to 20K, but there you go. You have a gate for basically the sound coming into the trigger. I've not been using this gate all that much, but it's here. You have attack, hold, and release. Then here you have the sample that you will trigger. So for this kick drum, I just have one sample. There's another way to do it where you have multiple samples. I will show you later. If we press here, we can have a listen. For this kick, I just blend in a small portion of this. So let's actually have a listen. Let's set this mix knob to only the source. So starting without the trigger, and then I will just blend. So it just adds a bit of oomph, a bit of fatness to the whole thing. And this has been working really well throughout the festivals this summer. Sometimes we have a super big PA, then I don't really need this trigger at all because I have all the oomph I need. If we have a smaller PA, I can just blend in some of the oomph and have a bigger sounding kick drum really fast. So this is the way I've been using it for kick drum. Right, moving on to snare drum. And in this case, we have actually 3 snare drums. So what I've been doing is, for the main snare, we have a over and under mic. Then I use the same input for a new channel, so I can blend. Instead of using, let's go back, instead of using this blend knob, I will use a fader to blend the trigger for the main snare drum. And here I use the velocity feature. So with this plugin, you obviously get a big sample pack. Some of the samples have different velocities. So on this one, I use 4 different velocities. So depending on how hard the drummer hits, the plugin will choose one of these 4 samples, from soft to harder, and the hardest. So it kind of follows the way the drummer actually plays. Before listening, we can go through the 4 different ways of using this. So you have the all layers. Now you kind of stack all of the samples you choose. So as soon as there's a trigger, all of these will play. Then you have the sequence, then it will play this one, then this one, and then this one, and this one, and just play over and over. Then you have the random, so it will just jump all over the place. And then the way I use it for this snare drum is the velocity. So depending on how hard the drummer hits, it will play one of these. Let's see, let's solo this. So we're just listening to the triggered signal. Here we go. So as you can see, it uses different samples depending on the signal coming in. Even the ghost notes are coming in. So we can actually have a listen to this part where it gets louder and louder. So this has been working really well. So let's actually have a listen to how this will sound with all of the drums. And with just the snare mics, and well, snare mics and the trigger. And works quite well even with stuff like this. So this is without the trigger, and with just a bit more stang. So for the low snare, this sounds really good as is, so I haven't been using any trigger for this. For the high snare, I have been using just one sample and then use this blend knob to have just a tiny bit of this. So let's see, let's solo this one, and you can actually have a listen to the triggered sound. It sounds like this. So really aggressive sounding. So let's have a listen to just a snare without the trigger, and then I will blend in just a tiny bit of the trigger. So just giving it a bit more, I don't know, a bit more presence maybe. So in context, it will sound like this. And if let's listen to just the trigger, you could of course change the tuning, pan and volume, and also add a delay if needed. So there's a way to tweak the samples a tiny bit. And let's actually have a look at the trigger sample library. So both acoustic and electronic stuff. So with the acoustic, you have both regular samples and then with different velocities. And yeah, you have cymbals, toms, hand claps, percussion. I really hope we have some cowbells. Yeah, of course. So if you want to blend a cowbell in with the snare drum, you could. And with the electronic stuff, you have basically the same thing, but not the velocity features. All right, so that's how I've been using InTrigger. And if you have any questions, let me know. Take care.